What's up, guys? I'm Crystal Lee Naomi, aka Jasmine Borders on Tyler Perry's Sisters. Be sure to subscribe to the Haves and the Have-Nots review for not only reviews on the Haves and the Have-Nots, but also on Sisters. And while you're at it, give your girl a follow on Instagram at Crystal Lee Naomi. And I'll see you every Wednesday at 9, only on BET.
All right, Sisters fans. First of all, I apologize for the lateness for this review. I know you all have been waiting several days for me to do it, but if you didn't know, I don't know how you wouldn't because I mention this all the time, but I run an eBay store, which is my side hustle aside from YouTube, and I had well over 50 boxes I had to get ready with action figures, and I had 97 envelopes and at least 12 separate packages. You know, the little bubble mailers, the envelopes with the bubble wrap inside. I had about 8 of those to get ready. Long story short, I had over 50 action figures and close to 250 Pokemon cards that sold in my store. And I needed to get that done immediately to put them in the postal system by Saturday. So Friday, they came and I helped, load the truck with the boxes. And then on Saturday, I had to spend like 5 hours, but I got all the envelopes ready and got those in the mail. And I listed more stuff because YouTube ad revenue this month has been low compared to the past 3 months. And yeah, that's why I'm so thankful I have multiple streams of income, because when one falters, I can make up for it in the other. So that's why this video is late. I apologize. But I actually rewatched the episode, what was it? Season 2, episode 6, That Look, because Andy, I feel, is getting more and more awful with each episode. I don't hate Andy. Let me put it that way. I don't hate Andy. I just do not. I feel like we're seeing the worst of her this season. And don't worry, I have a separate video coming called Andy's Awful, because I don't know if you saw my tweet that I posted a couple days ago, but I was pretty much reacting to how the fans react after every single episode. It's like a lot of the people are saying the same thing, pretty much. I said, what did I say? Like, awful Andy, dramatic Danny, knucklehead Karen, sensitive Sabrina. To be honest, that really encompasses how these women are being written this season. And I don't dislike season 2. I actually think it's a pretty good season so far. It just feels like we're getting a different vibe from the women. It's almost like, of course, with every show, the first season is establishing the characters, and then season 2 is just an expansion of the story, more often than not with higher stakes, and we're seeing these characters in different scenarios, or we see the continuation from their scenarios from season 1. So I know I'm just kind of doing like a lengthy intro, but I really need to set the stage because this was a pretty good episode, to be completely honest. To be just upfront and forward about it, I think Andy was definitely not shown in a good light. For the most part, I actually liked how the characters were being portrayed in this episode. They were having a good time. Let me just say at the beginning of the video, I was a bit shocked by a few things. Remember, this season, it's easy to forget now, this season was filmed during, well, I know that it's still ongoing. COVID numbers at an all-time high now, but it was filmed during the pandemic. Like this was the first major television show production that was worked on since the pandemic went down. Camp Quarantine. Like this was the first show Tyler filmed. Then after that, it was The Oval. Then of course we had Ruthless and Bruh season 2. They all got filmed as well. But remember, leading up to this season, I was like, yeah, I wonder how they're going to do certain scenes, like when they're in the club and whatnot. They probably won't do that because of the number of people. Will they have like love scenes and everything? Will we have more people talking on the phone than ever? This episode pretty much had a little bit of everything, from the club scene to even when Fatima and Zach were at the restaurant. It was a pretty packed house. Obviously, there was probably no more than like 8 people there because that was due to angles. But I was just surprised to see the number of people, especially in the, what was the place called? The Proud Gay Bar on Jubilee. I think that's the name of the gay bar that Andy told Paris about. It was pretty intriguing to say the least. But yeah, all that's to say, the score itself, let me just double check the notes, because I promise we're going to get to the episode, but I really just wanted to point out several things that caught my eye in regards to the setup and everything. And I don't want to dip my toe into the water relating to the preview for next week, because the preview for next week, this week, I'm sorry, it's already Sunday. This upcoming episode 7, it's really like the aftermath of a night of drinking and sex. Because what the hell were they drinking? Like, they were saying liquor, tequila, or margarita. No, it was like something else. Like, I mean, they went from like different. They had different drinks. Like, I remember at one point Sabrina's like, give us something brown and beautiful just like us. And I'm like, I don't know what the hell they were drinking, but it was shot, everybody. That's all it was. Like, every time you saw these characters, they had a shot. A freaking shot. It was crazy. But I would give this episode a solid 9 out of 10. I know that seems a bit weird after, certain things that didn't rub me the right way, like Andy. I saw Karen getting a lot of flack because, the pot calling the kettle black. You telling Andy to slow down. I'll get to that. But let's go ahead and, let's go ahead and just start with the episode itself. So before moving forward in the video, it's a lengthy intro. Go ahead and hit that like button to show you like the video. So hit the thumbs up. Let's try to get to 100 likes. Also, click that bell icon and turn on notifications. I mentioned this in the community tab. You should check it out. You all have been doing what I've been asking. Our percentage of the number of subscribers who watch my videos, the watch time, it's gone up by about 5%. Which is great, because several days, not even a week ago when I brought this up, we were only about at 24.5 or 25%. We're almost at 30% of my watch time being from actual subscribers. So if you have subscribed to the channel, click that bell and select all. That way you are notified when I post content. Also, if you could hit subscribe, because like I said before, we hit 150,000 subscribers. I still need to do like a video to celebrate that. And also follow me on my social media. Links are in the description below. The Instagram page is kind of slowed down. I want to at least get to like maybe 30,000 followers by the end of the year if possible. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, make sure you do so. And with that being said, let's hop into the episode review. So Andy's leaving the jail. She's pissed off. She's calling Karen, who's, her and Aaron are on their way to the club, for Maurice's celebration. And, she's just ranting and raving. I just love how Karen is all calm in this scene. It's like, girl, just calm down. Like, come on out tonight, have a good time. Because basically Karen's being rational. And Andy's like, wait, what are you talking so quiet for? It's like, well, what's going on? It's like, I'm in the car with somebody. Oh, okay. And he's like, oh, Aaron? Yeah, he's coming? Oh, okay. Because the way Andy said that, I'm like, oh, okay. Sure. All right. So she is just mad about the fact that Gary's being jealous and the fact that Hayden was trying to help his ass. He doesn't appreciate it. So they're all meet up at the club. As soon as they get off the phone, she ends up calling Paris, who, based off the thing in his hand, it's like, a container with a bunch of cleaning stuff. He's probably just getting off of work or a job. And, Andy's being all nice because like, oh yeah, I'm glad you called. I wanted to say I'm sorry about earlier. And it's like, hey, how are you with gay bars? Excuse me? Yeah, I got a friend who's having a, party down there, and if you're open for it, would you want to come down? Sure, I had no problem. So she tells him it's the Proud Gay Bar off Jubilee, and as soon as they get off the phone, yeah, it's like, oh, I'm on my way there. Meet me there. Okay. And as soon as she hangs up the phone, fuck you, Gary. I'm like, right there, it goes back to what I said. This show has a way of making me interestingly frustrated because the characters are written, even though it seems ridiculous, and a lot of times they seem like, I don't want to say the B word, but that's realistic. Like the way I'm not trying to justify Andy's behavior, but it is actually very realistic. I know men sometimes do this too, but it's not, seen in the same light. But men and women both do this. Like when our lover pisses us off, we're quick to jump to like the first, like we'll get out the, well, I don't even know if they say little black book anymore since everything is electronic nowadays, but what do they call them? F boys or, you know, side chicks or whatnot. Basically, the person you friend zoned or whatever is the person you call up when things ain't going right with your partner. So essentially, that's all Andy's doing, setting up Paris to be the rebound. And he's better than that. And we'll get to that later in the episode. So we go over to Fatima and Zach at dinner. And like I said before, I think I mentioned this either on Instagram or in the community tab. If I haven't, I'll definitely post it. But Fatima is the MVP of this season, if you ask me. I feel like in terms of the ladies, the main four characters, we're seeing not a great representation of them in terms of how they act and do things. I mean, you know, from Sabrina doing, well, I would say doing shady things at work, but then it turns out that she did nothing wrong, but I still didn't like the idea of her giving Andy that safety deposit box. And, you know, Danny, you could argue whether or not she's overreacting to Preston, but at the end of the day, she's just making these emotional decisions, like knee-jerk reactions, and then wonders why Preston is not coming around because he's pushed away, and basically she's in the wrong. And Karen is just continuing to make bad choices, you know, even dealing with Aaron after everything that's been going on. And, you know, Andy, I mean, I've already said enough on her, but Fatima, yeah, I'll talk more about her and Zach, but you know, matter of fact, how about this? Let's do a little unorthodox, because I know this is going to be a long review, because I'm not just going to be up here talking to talk, because I haven't done this when I was supposed to, but there really is a lot to break down. Can we do this a little easier? Let me go ahead and just talk about the Fatima and Zach scenes, because the only time Zach is even mentioned by other characters, I think, is when the girls all get together at the club and, you know, Danny and Karen kind of go back and forth about whether or not Zach's still in jail. It's like, oh my God, is he going to show up to the club? But Fatima and Zach, they're at dinner, and she tells him to call work to ensure that he isn't fired because he got arrested and he didn't show up. He didn't call in. He makes the call. Turns out everything's good. It wasn't a felony or anything. He just got into a fight, and he's able to come back into work tomorrow, which is good. So turns out Fatima, you know, likes Zach and she wants to see him win. I really like that scene. It was a really good scene. I mean, she could definitely put down some drinks though, because later after they get out of the restaurant, you know, Fatima just wants to make sure, Zach wants to make sure Fatima's good because she was putting down a few glasses of that stuff. And it turns out that she has a 2-bedroom apartment and invites Zach to stay at her place because she sees potential in him. You're handsome. I like you. I see your potential. And after that, we go over to the apartment, and, you know, Zach is being rather cautious because she bust out some more drinks, and he's being cautious because of the fact that this whole thing with Fatima, it seems familiar with Karen, and it turns out, you know, in terms of the backstory between Karen and Zach, it was a situation where, you know, he had a rough past and she put him up to help him kind of get back on his feet, but he wasn't able to get up as quickly, you know, as she wanted him to, and as a result, they kind of had the falling out. And, you know, seeing how Fatima's treating him now must have been similar in a way to how Karen did, you know, after Zach fell on hard times, and he just doesn't want to get caught up in that situation again. And she, again, wants to see him win. And he talks about how, you know, I'm good with numbers, I'm good with making money, but I'm also capable of making the wrong decisions. And she really thinks that Chain Breakers is a group that can help him out. You know, he's going to have to bust his ass, but given the fact that he's able to ride around, you know, Atlanta on the 10-speed. And I love the fact that, you know, even if you go back to the restaurant, it's like, oh, let me take you home. It's like, no, I'm good. I'm walking. It's close by. Oh, you were staying with the girl, but now that's not it. No, I'm actually staying with a friend now. It's like, well, let me take you there. No, I can walk. It's okay. And that's how, you know, she ends up inviting him over to stay at her place since she has the 2-room. And I love the bike continuity there, but I'm thinking to myself, Zach technically, I mean, he has a bike, but now obviously he hasn't gotten it fixed because remember, got hit by Fatima. They went to the Chain Breakers meeting. She dropped him off at the hotel, and then that's when he got arrested. So, I mean, I don't know where the hell the bike is, but he definitely needs to get it fixed first. Hence why he said, let me walk back to, you know, where I'm staying. So I thought that was pretty funny. But the thing about Zach is, I really didn't like the scene. The worst thing they did about him so far this season was him going to the hotel to get into that fight. That was just a bad decision overall. It wasn't just bad. I think it was stupid. And it really tarnished what they were doing with his character, because I was really feeling like, in a way, Sistas season 2 was doing what the characters, what the haves and have-nots was kind of doing, where you would have these secondary characters, not the main titular characters, carrying the story more than the main characters themselves, or at the very least having a more interesting and compelling story arc than the main characters. But with Zach, they just kind of threw that in. I really wish it didn't go down like that. I wish, if anything, maybe Aaron would have provoked him instead of him doing out of pure rage and jealousy. But in any case, with Fatima just seeing the potential in him, long story short, Fatima just sees Zach as a fixer-upper. I'm not saying he doesn't have potential, but at the end of the day, that's, again, kind of like the Andy thing. Realistic women see men, and let's be real. If they're good in bed, if they're attractive, they got tattoos, and they have a jail record, that's, I'm not just talking out of my ass here or out of jealousy, but I know how it is. I know how it is. I'm the Paris, so to speak, except I don't live with my mom. You know, I'm that nice guy who's always on reserve, or, you know, if somebody's having an issue, I get called on, but I'm never the first pick. That's pretty much it. So there are a lot of Zachs and Garys out there. Hell, not to jump all over the place, but even Andy, I told Karen at one point, it's like, you know, he's acting all jealous and, you know, rude and everything. And usually I think that's sexy, but no, it's gotten annoying now. So that's how it is. So she tells him which room that he could stay in. Next thing you know, she's pinned up against the wall. I know some people are like, how in the world is she moaning and all he did was pick her up, put her against the wall, and start kissing her neck? Look, as a guy who's never gotten any, all I got to say is, I think Eddie Murphy said it best in 48 Hours. Hang on, was it 48 Hours or was it Beverly Hills Cop? I think it was 48 Hours, right? It was when him and that the white cop were standing outside of the redneck bar, and this quote pretty much sums up my feelings about being a person who's waiting until marriage to give it up. Yeah, seriously, I mean, hell, rub my shoulder, like, you know, just, you know, touch my shoulders. Oh shit. So, I mean, hell, even Andy's like, Paris, like, you're hard. Is like, yeah, that's me. So in any case, we'll talk more about them in the preview for next week. So that was pretty much Zach and Fatima's story of the episode. I thought it was nice. Like I said before, realistic. That's how it is. Like a woman who has it. I don't even want to say has it made, because of the fact that Fatima, like she said, everything she has, she hasn't made in this. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't want to come across like I'm taking away anything from her. She got her own, like Neo and Jamie Foxx. That was one of my favorite collaborations back. She got her own. Oh. Look, that was like, oh, I know, remix. I love her 'cause she got her own. But in any case, let's go back to the club. Well, actually, no, let's just go over to Calvin and Maurice. So Calvin's over at Maurice's place, and yeah, I agree. Maurice got a nice spot, but what did he say? Like the difference between renting and leasing is like, I got a credit of 3. Honestly, Maurice was pretty. Yeah, I get it. I understand where some people come from. Like, you know, Tyler Perry with the writing, it's laid on a bit too thick. Yeah, they laid on a bit too thick with the, you know, the homosexuality and just the way that Maurice is a portrayal of homosexual and okay, I don't want to use the incorrect, what's it called? RuPaul drag queen. Yeah, I don't, is essentially cross-dressing. I'm pretty sure that's the proper term. I know they laid on a big thick. Yeah, it was in some ways, like, if you ask someone a certain question and then they go on this whole, like, you know, rant about basically pulling a Tiffany Haddish. Like, you could have a regular conversation, but then she just throws in all these unnecessary sexual innuendos, and it just is out of place. That's essentially what was happening here. But long story short, Calvin is looking for a place to stay due to the fact that his father had a lot of medical bills and everything. So his wallet's pretty tight at the moment. So I think Maurice said he has like a 3-room apartment, like, you know, one for the closet, one for the clothes I wear because I don't sleep in any or something like that. I'm like, well, damn, it's a nice place though. So Maurice said he'd think about it. Look, I don't want to recap everything Maurice saying because it was just all over the place, but I love how he threw shade at the lonely woman upstairs. That was pretty funny. So after that, Calvin's like, look, we need to hurry up and get ready because everybody and their mother was saying the same thing. So they eventually end up at the club. Actually, they're on their way there in the car, and apparently Calvin doesn't know what a waist trainer is. So there must have been, this is why I talk about Tyler Perry editing, because it was kind of random. 1 minute, like literally, maybe there was a commercial break. I didn't watch it live, but they're on their way to the club. And then the next, like, I want to say a few seconds later, we go back to the club and they just show up and Maurice is all dressed. I'm like, did we skip something? Did he get changed in the car? What the hell's going on here? But in any case, let's go back to the club scene. So Karen, Aaron, and Andy are all at the club. And basically, like I said before, Andy's just flustered because, Gary's doing too much. The jealousy thing used to be sexy. Now it's not. Karen tells Andy not to move too fast because she tells her that, Paris is on the way. And a lot of people are giving Karen flack for saying that. Even Andy's like, you're telling me not to move too fast? Well, to be fair, Karen is actually correct. Look, I know I said this plenty of times about Andy this season where Andy says things about the struggles of black women and, men ain't shit. And I don't disagree with what Andy says, but it just doesn't seem appropriate when she's the one that says it. Now, the argument could be made about Karen doing the same thing, but I honestly don't blame Karen that much because she's rightfully calling out Andy because she's clearly upset right now because of that fight with Gary. And now all of a sudden she calls over Paris. And yeah, I mean, she is moving too fast, not to mention using Paris. So after that, Danny and Sabrina show up and the ladies are basically having a powwow recapping everything, why Danny's pissed off about the whole Preston thing, and apparently saying baby gal doesn't fly with Karen and Andy either. And I know I'm black too, but I guess I didn't know gal was a derogatory term when it comes from like a white person with a cowboy hat, but being called a bitch is just fine. But who am I to judge what some people deem offensive and what not? But whatever. So this is the part where they get their first round of shots. I think it was Aaron who went to go get Andy and Karen a drink because remember, he's not drinking. He's just going to have a soda or water or whatever. So yeah, he gives the girls a drink and they're like, what? And like Danny snatches a couple ways like, what the hell is this? Like this tequila? This ain't no tequila I know about. So after that, the conversation shifts over to, okay, is Zach still in jail or not? And then, like I said before, Aaron's kind of looking off like, ooh, and then Karen's like, wait, he ain't coming up here, is he? So then we go over to another round of shots. I feel like there were at least 8 times in this episode where the ladies have shots. And turns out there are a lot of straight men who work at these gay bars, and James is one of them. And he catches Danny's eye. Aaron is talking to Karen about how, Karen's like, make sure, hey, are you okay? I know this is your usual kind of scene here, but, yeah, it's all good. It's just felt a little weird getting catcalled on the way into the club. I wasn't really used to that. And I mean, I don't know if that's because, as men, men typically don't get catcalled by women, but when you're a straight man being catcalled by gay men, it's like, yeah, that would be a bit perplexing. So this is this Andy got dragged online for this. For her being extremely judgmental of Aaron, who's in recovery from alcoholism, apparently, in a club. And at first I was like, okay, well, man, Andy is a bit tipsy, but at that point, I know it's fair to only count how many drinks we saw them have on screen, and from the number of times they yelled shots, they apparently had a lot, but I'm not going to blame it all on the drink because Andy was completely out of line. The guy is sitting 1 seat away from you because it's like Aaron, it's Karen, and then it's Andy in terms of where they're sitting. Not even 6 feet apart. Yeah, I said it. But he's literally like, no, I'm fine. I'm just going to have a soda. Karen's going to drink. It's okay. And, oh, wait, so you didn't tell me he was in recovery. And I'm like, you bitch. I'm sorry. I don't like to call women out of name, but that was a bitch move. That was not cool at all. Look, I still don't trust Aaron. I don't fully like Aaron. But that's just messed up. as a person myself who does not drink, look, I've never been drunk. I don't go to, what do they call it, AAA meetings or anything. Alcoholism doesn't run in my family or anything. I just personally, it's not even a religious thing as a Christian. It's not, I just choose not to drink. Have I drank before? Yeah, I've had some wine. I can count on like one hand the amount of times I consumed alcohol in my life. Like, I remember how on House of Pain, like Jazz was like, I tried the vape pen and I didn't like it. I didn't feel good. That was essentially me. It wasn't like I got drunk or tipsy or anything. I just didn't like the taste of it. You know? Like, I know there are probably drinks out there where it like tastes good, but you know, I've had wine a couple times, beer, champagne, and like strawberry daiquiri, but they don't. It ain't for me. You know, I just like, I taste them like, you know what, I'm good with soda. Yeah, soda really isn't that good for my body, but damn it, give me a Diet Mountain Dew over the $500 champagne or wine any day. But that's just me. So yeah, if a person brings up like, as a person who's never been, you know, you recovering alcohol or whatever, I don't think it's appropriate to like badger them. Like, if they don't want to drink, then that's okay. Like, you don't have to dig deep to try to find out why don't you drink? Why don't you smoke? Did your parents have a problem? That's rude as hell. So Andy, shut the fuck up. That was uncalled for. All right. Okay. I'm sorry. Let me move on. So Paris shows up. Turns out Paris and Aaron know each other. They're actually bowling buddies. And they call for more shots. And, you know, Andy and Paris are talking about the situation. It's like, oh, hey, thanks for calling me, inviting me out. I was a bit surprised you did. And basically Paris calls out Andy for like, so what's going on? You seemed upset. You know, I was handling a situation, you know, a fight with your boyfriend. And it's, oh, no, it's over. And it's like, oh no, it's like, just because you had like one fight doesn't mean it's over. It's like, oh no, trust me, it's over. So Paris right there knew that, yeah, wait, I'm essentially rebound here, right? And Andy's like, oh no, it's over. Don't even worry about it. So Danny and James, yeah, I already talked about the whole Danny finding out James is straight. So later on, Danny's actually trying to leave the party, but the girls wanted to stay. They call for more shots. And then Paris tries to get Andy to stop drinking, but no, I'm having some more. I'm having a good time. So Aaron also is concerned about Andy as well, and Paris, because it's like, wait, is something going? You know, I feel like your friend okay? Because it was kind of hinted at, and I'll say that part of the discussion later. Okay. So then Sabrina and Calvin are talking, and Calvin, you know, is talking. Well, Sabrina's asking, hey, you said you love me, right? Yeah, I do. And it's like, I know you aren't there yet, but you don't have to say anything. Just know that I love you, and I hope get you there at some point. So, you know, that's really the gist of the conversation. We go over to Andy noticing Paris is hard. I've already talked about that, and they both want to leave. So Andy is trying to leave, but Karen takes her aside like, look, Andy, you're drunk. You don't need to rush this. And I'm not saying that Karen's being hypocritical here, because she can clearly tell Andy is intoxicated and is probably going to make a bad decision. And what they need to do is just, hey, if you want to keep drinking or whatever, fine, but let's just stay here. Because Andy doesn't know anything about him. It's like, I think he has a home, and I want to go out of here. I want to get with that. Because like, no, look, Andy, you're angry, you're drunk, you're frustrated. And then they leave. And Aaron's like, wait, should we go with him? And it's like, oh no, like she said, she's grown. So they decide to stay. So remember, Aaron and Paris know each other. So it's possible that, well, he probably knows something about Paris that we don't. Kind of like how Gary, in his jealous ass, he was trying to warn Andy about Maurice and the fact that he didn't trust him. Now, even though at the time we weren't 100% sure if Gary could be trustworthy when it came to this kind of thing, because he was always jealous. So even when he was trying to tell the truth to save Andy, he didn't get believed. And it turns out he was right about him. So it's possible that Aaron knows something about Paris that we don't. Or he's just looking out for his boy because he could tell that Andy's been drinking too much. So then the other scene here. Oh, I'm so sorry. I actually skipped over this part. So after Maurice shows up to the club, he gets on stage and pretty much makes a speech about, you know, resilience in regards to how the LGBTQ and all the other alphabets in this room have dealt with discrimination and whatnot. And the fact that, hey, when you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. Now move these damn tables so we can party. So There's a very good scene. I know we know that Maurice and Danny don't like each other. We honestly need some scenes between these two. I'm not saying we need to oversaturate the episodes with their back and forth banter, but they actually bounce off each other pretty well. Maurice is taking time to check in on Danny because she's not acting like herself. Obviously, we know she's down about Preston, and she gets James to dance with her. He's like, you could thank me by sending me dick pics. I'm like, oh God. So, yeah, that was it. Yeah, that was the episode in a nutshell. I thought it was pretty damn good. 9 out of 10. I like the fact that we had a decent amount of scenery. And that's something that I know from the other shows it's hard to come by, specifically House of Pain and really Assisted Living. We had a good balance of different locations. Look, Andy standing outside of the jail, people in their cars, the restaurant with Fatima and Zach, Fatima's place, Maurice's place, and then we're at the club. I thought it was a pretty good, it was a nice breath of fresh air. Sure, this was a feel good episode. Andy was easily the worst character though. It felt good to we didn't see Gary, but we just heard about him. We got a good mix of combination of characters we don't usually get, like, Maurice and Danny. And we actually got to see, Paris actually knows Aaron. And I'll do a Paris video between now and the next episode because a lot of people don't remember who he is. I don't blame you. He was only in a couple of episodes during season 1. And if anything else, he was pretty much just another reason to set up the Gary jealousy story arc. But other than that, this was a pretty solid episode. I really did enjoy it for what it was. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about that look. Long story short, these women drank a lot. And I mean, hell, Fatima did too, but she knew what she was doing. She knows she wanted Zach. So with that being said, 9 out of 10, like I said before, pretty solid. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Shout out to the patrons over on Patreon for supporting the channel. And guys, like I said before, the YouTube ad revenue is all over the place. Like, trust and believe. Remember how I said I'm gonna get my own place? I still plan on doing so. I just pray that this month isn't oh my God, this is the beginning of a decrease in revenue, because it took a dip, like a 70% dip. But it might pick up towards the end of the month when the haves and have-nots comes back. But if you would like to donate to the channel at any point, it doesn't have to be like, oh, I'll donate today because you did the video. PayPal and Cash App is always available. PayPal is probably the way to go because of less fees. So if you donate money, just say like sending it to a friend. That way there's no fees or anything. Or you can just hit me up on Cash App. Either works. It's not required, but it is appreciated. And like I said, thank God I have multiple streams of income, because with the YouTube ad revenue down this month, the eBay is really making up for it. So I'm just stockpiling money, trying to get things straight, because I'm just ready for a new change next year. So look out for my episode trailer breakdown for this week's episode of Sistas. I have a lot of have and have not content to do, because apparently they re-released a version 2 of the season 8 promo, and I got some episode titles dropped on me. I got some episode synopsis dropped on me. I want to talk about the Waiting to Exhale series coming out. I want to talk about several things. Look, I got a long list of videos. It's going to be a busy week. So thanks so much for tuning in, guys. I appreciate the love and support on the channel. I really do. And I'll talk to you soon.